The fellowship of the PHP community. If your heart is in your actions, no step is too extreme, for the community needs you. Who among you wants to be part of the PHP community? Raise your hand. Well, say in the chat or tweet about it. I have two good news. The first one is, since you are watching this talk, you are very much part of the community already. Congratulations. But for those of you who doesn't know if they want to be a part of it, or if they think that why should I care to be part of the community, or if you are very shy about joining the community and doesn't know where to start, I am going to show you how. My objectives with this talk would be to draw your attention that it is not complicated to get involved in the community. I will show you how the community can work for you and list you ways to get started. Why listen to me? I started rambling about PHP in March 2010 on my blog 7php.com, and 2 years later I did my first PHP community interview in January 2012. I was no one on an isolated island of the island of Mauritius. Yet by the grace of the PHP community, I have attended conferences all around the world. I attended PHP Northwest in Manchester. I attended Sunshine PHP in Miami. I attended BG PHP in Bulgaria, Sofia. Are you ready? Let's do this. So how would you define a community? Take a few minutes, think for yourself, how would you define community? Charles Vogt, the author of The Art of Community, defines community as follows. A community is created when at least two people begin to feel concerned about each other's welfare. Of course, around a common core thing, which is for us, which is PHP. But I want to draw your attention. Community is made up of at least two people, but with the element of care. If you take the word community, just think of it as common unity. Jenny Wong defines community as community is an ongoing experience of togetherness, sharing, generosity, experience, and interactions. By the way, Jenny Wong has been involved with the PHP community since so long, and her words resonate very much. Like I said, community is different in the way that they are organized just by the feeling. We care for each other. It is different from the word tribe and group. If you want to know more about these differences, I have 3 great pointers for you. Read Tribalism versus Community by Alan Wesh, Defining Community by Charles Vogt, and A Community is Not a Tribe by Desi Popova. The PHP community is very unique. From my experience, the PHP community is the whole definition of what a community is. We tremendously care for each other. We like to gather frequently. We like to mentor each other. We like to meet each others. We have a very unique way of welcoming new members. I call this the unconscious onboarding effect. So what can a community do for you? The first thing that a community can do for you is provide you support. When we say support as moral support, financial support, educational support. Especially right now, moral support is very much needed. We feel so much stress. But with community, we get the proper framework, we get the proper care so that we can deal with those mental health issues. And financially as well, if you are in a difficult moment, the PHP community is here for you. The PHP community has done it in the past for people that were not in a good position. And educational support in the way that in your learning process, in the way you want to expand. The community experience will help you in developing those skills. Next is, most of us feels a need to interact. We want to communicate. We want to get to know people. We want to mingle, but we want a safe place to do that. The PHP community is a safe place to do that. A community is a safe place to do that. Why? Because a community has the welfare at the core. The third thing that a community can do for you is help you fight loneliness. As a normal human being, we have a need for a sense of belonging. We want to feel welcome. We want to feel appreciated for who we are, and the community appreciates us. I want to share a very good thoughts from France Moulape, who is an author. There is something indescribably lovely about being a part of a group of people who share something more substantial than geographical location, something they feel passionate about, something that, when shared, makes an individual feel less lonely. I hope this resonates with you. The fourth thing that a community can do for you is it can help you in your knowledge experience. The PHP community is one of those unique community where you get free mentorship. You will not find anywhere else. Even the elite programmers in the PHP community go above and beyond to help each one of us. Join the php-mentoring.org movement. Get to know people. This is a platform which is more than just answering questions. They provide help. It's about learning, about communication and interaction. And I can tell you that those interactions are priceless. When we say knowledge, there are three key areas. When you communicate with others, these interactions can help in your learning process. When you communicate on Twitter, I cannot stress enough how good of a tool Twitter is for your learning experience. Most of us PHPers, we hang out on Twitter. And if you see the amount of quality, of course, you need to follow the right people. But what I'm telling you is Twitter has been, for me and for so many other people, a very good source of learning experience with the community. And you can learn a lot via email. How? If you have a problem and you know someone is good at it, reach out via email. You will be surprised by the amount of care that you could get from an email. Don't let you be disheartened if someone else doesn't reply to you. Reach out to the next one. Someone will eventually get back to you. The fifth one is paying it forward. Calivan relentlessly says the community pays it forward. What this means for me, as I have felt it, is when we see each other's feeling so much bothered and concerned about us and about our welfare, our heart becomes like the sun. We want to give back so much more positive vibe. Think of it. If someone is caring for you, how would you react? How would you feel? You would not hesitate to go above and beyond for that person. You would not hesitate to invest more in the community journey. I asked Calivan what it means for him when he says that paying it forward. Calivan's replied, "I've seen the community on more than one occasion quietly passing the hat because one of us was in need. We helped a co-contributor buy a house. We helped someone get back on their feet when they didn't have two dins left to rub together. And sadly, we took up a collection to help bury one of our own. The community is not perfect, but we do love each other." That's what the Don of the PHP community had to say. The next thing that community can be good for you is for your business. If you are relentlessly contributing to the community, adding value, you're creating an element of trust. You're interacting with people and building connection and trust. People want to buy from people they trust. I have two good examples for you. The company Spatty by Freak and the Laravel ecosystem. Observe these two examples I've given you. Observe how they are doing it. They are doing it the right way. The next positive thing that community can do for you is growing your network. When you are into a community, you create more than just friendly connection. You are contributing indirectly to your professional connection. And who knows, maybe you can land your next job by just having your involvement within the community. I have a good quote for you. Networking is not just about connecting people, it's about connecting people with people, people with ideas, but also people with opportunities. Calivan has a very good thought from his book Wisdom of the Elephant that I want to share quickly with you. The community is not a physical entity, it is a living organism. When it works, it's because the people in it are working together to make it work. If it fails, it's because the people in it have failed. And when it fails, don't get disgusted. Get involved. Help make it work again. Now that we have seen the good thing that community can do for you, what is left for you now is join the community. Joining is very easy. It's honestly not complicated. Let's see how you can get started. Before we start, I want to debunk some myth that we get into our mind. Our mind plays some tricks sometime. The community will not accept me. The community is too hard to get into. Or there are more skillful people and experienced people than me. Guys, take a step back. Don't let your mind play tricks on you. Flush all these myths and let's get started. It's so easy to get started. Let's get started right now, today itself. The first way you get started is by caring. What do you do when you meet someone for the first time? Think about it. What do you do when you meet someone for the first time? You say, "Hi, hello, how are you doing today?" This is very simple. It is basic, but it is the first simple step that you can do. So right now, today, in this chat or on Twitter, introduce yourself to people. Get to know at least one people before you leave today and keep contact. The first thing is caring. Start by creating the connection. The second thing is keep that contact going. Keep that connection going. To keep that connection going, use Twitter, use email. Today, right now, tweet to someone, email someone, chat to someone. The second way that you can get started is by blogging and feedback. If you're good at PHP, write about what you know. If you're still learning, don't worry. Write about what you have just learned in the previous days, in the week, in this week, and ask for feedback. Tweet about your article. Tag it properly. Tag someone that you would want to have feedback from. If you don't do this, no one will reach out to you. Do it first. Do this. Tag someone. If no one replies to you, keep tagging. You will have at least one person to reply to you, and that at least one person will get you way ahead. The third way is by interacting with people. Interaction is key. When we say interaction, I have 4 categories. Reply to someone else on Twitter, get feedback, ask questions, read someone else's content, tweet about what you appreciated in that content. And also, if you appreciate what someone has done for you or has done on the internet or has done through his content or PHP library, reach out, email them, say thanks, give them thanks, show gratitude. The fourth way is your contribution. I'm not saying money, guys. I'm saying your time and input. You can get started as simply as starting with the PHP documentation. Find some errors, provide some corrections. If you see that some project lacks some proper documentation, sit down, write the documentation for them, help them. If you see some project lack tests, unit testing, proper unit testing, contribute your part, do the unit testing for them. If you have read a book, if you have used a project, create a review of those guys. Write a review for a book author. Write a review for a framework. And then you can volunteer. help user group organizers and conference leaders, help them with finding sponsors, help them with their website. So many people creating PHP libraries and creating user group and conferences. They do not have time to get a proper setup for the website. Most of them need help with this. Reach out, contribute, help them. The fifth way is giving a lightning talk. A lightning talk can be a quick talk like this one. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 15 minutes. The key idea here is get started. Try to prepare something for just 5 minutes and reach out to nomadphp.com. They will help you get your lightning talk ahead of an audience. The next way that you can contribute to the community is by starting a local user group. Like Caliban says, if you do not have a local user group, guess what? You are the user group. Start the user group, organize it, get 1 or 2 people. This 1 or 2 people will become a group, a community for you in the local context. If you have one, participate. Participate can mean as simply as just attending a conference. Attend 1, attend 2nd, attend 3rd. After this 3rd, I will guarantee you that you would want to get started, you would want to speak, you would want to contribute and organize more. Next is you can also create a small library. There are so many problems that you can solve. If you're good in PHP, if you're good at writing code, if you're good at solving problems, identify some problems that people are getting and create an open source project to help fix those issues. And the 8th way that from my experience I see, I tag this as connecting the dots. What I mean by that is within the PHP community, if you see someone need help with a specific scenario and you know that someone else from another community has the expertise, connect them. Help the guy solve his problem. Finally, the nth way of that you can get started into the community is when you are in doubt, observe how others are doing it. I have a framework that I call the AURA method, which is observe, learn, repeat, and add value. Observe, learn, repeat, and add value. I will share a nice quote with you here. To acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. Get into the habit of observing. I've shown you the ways, and now I show you 2 real examples of how people like yourself are getting started into the community. I asked Noriko Yamamoto from Tokyo how she got started. She got started in 2008 by just talking to other PHP developers to learn PHP. Then she joined meetups. After meetups, she started attending conferences. And guess what? Nowadays, she's involved in organizing and leading the committee for the Japan user group. And I asked her, how did you know that you are part of the PHP community? She says, others started mentoring me and asked me for my involvement in meetups and talks. That's one example of how you can get started and you know that you're part of the community. The second one is from Matt from the US. Matt got started in 2015 by just finding a local user group and getting involved. He knew he was part of the community when he went to a conference and was able to say hello to people and not be starstruck by speakers, but instead seeing them as equals and be able to have conversation in those groups. Before I end, I have 2 thoughts for you. The first one is have empathy. Treat others with respect. Treat people the way you want them to treat you. And like Ted Lasso says, have the memory of a goldfish. This is a very short word, but with a lot of wisdom in this. Think about it. Get into practicing empathy. And the last thing that I want to tell you is Never ever let any one of us down. If anyone reaches out to you for help, it means he or she really needs it. And please don't let them down. Do your part, help the community. Together we grow. This is the end of the presentation, guys. I hope you'll enjoy my presentation. But this is not the end for you. This is the start of a new journey for you. Do your part, get started, think about what I've said. Now amplify the fellowship. I count on you. You'll do great. We need you, every one of you, every single of your action. Atomic step works nicely. Start simple, start today.